Okay. Hey, Delaine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go through this slide by slide and give you some suggestions. So the first thing is I know we're definitely going to need to make the title a lot stronger. So the word keys for me here isn't super powerful and effective. So I'm almost thinking yours is going to be more like the five pillars. The word steps kind of insinuates process. So if that is something that appeals to you and you think would appeal to your soulmate client, that's certainly something that you could think about as well. Keys, I'm not sure here. And what is their goal, right? So getting and staying in the best shape of their life. I like with a time commitment, even you can manage. I think that's great. But go back to your soulmate client research. What is their like number one or two greatest fear, pain point, desire? And let's kind of take it from that angle, okay? And then I think there's a way to summarize 30s, 40s, and 50s, or at least insinuate that that's who it's for without saying that. It just kind of weakens the flow of it. So anyway, let's work on the title more. Okay, so you're in the right place. If I'm just going to kind of read through all of these, I glanced through everything, and then I figure we'll just do it this way. Yeah, and I'm sure you'll add photos and things like that to not all of the slides, but I would say at least one out of every three should have a photo on it. Okay. Yeah, just a quick no comma there. I would pull that out. All of these. Okay, this is actually good. Okay, so you have a working knowledge. Just add here the word you on that last one. Yeah, I think that's good. So just double check like here, does that highlight all of the feedback that you got from your soulmate client research on their biggest challenges? And if so, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I like the word elude. That's good. Yep, that one's good too. Yeah, this works here, just not in the title. So that's fine. Yep, that's good. I like it. Okay. Training strategy that was from. Yeah, it seems like you're really highlighting the time thing, which is really good. And what I'm gathering from a lot of the language is that they have some past failures, and you're trying to give them the confidence to see that if they just do what you say, they are going to get the results and keep them once and for all. So that's perfect. Okay. Okay, perfect. And just so you know, if any of these headlines, these are just my examples. If they don't resonate with you or you don't like the language, you can totally change them. So it's not, that part's not set in stone. Okay, so that's good. Yep, I like that. So I might, with these two slides, I might actually condense these to one, because you're kind of saying the same thing in that bullet point. If we can just pull, I know I say two or three on each slide, but I'm okay with you pulling that one up. They're not like really long sentences or anything. So I would cut that bullet point, the top one here, and then hopefully you can see my mouse on the recording, and then take this one and pull it up to that slide. Okay. I'm wondering if you'll ever be in the shape. Yep, I think you highlight all their biggest challenges. And we just want to keep the language really consistent, right? So if you go with five keys, five pillars, five steps, whatever you decide to go with, just make sure that language stays consistent throughout. So you would change component to pillars, for example. That's good. Perfect. Yep, I like that. Yep, so same thing here. Decide what that word's going to be and just make it consistent. So here what I would do is obviously have a picture of you. I know you haven't gotten to that. I know this is just kind of in its raw form. It's not designed or anything like that. I would rather see this be like a bullet pointed list. And then I like the soul's purpose. I think that's really powerful in there. But talk a little bit about, you and what you've done. So you can see in my example, I just give a couple bullet points about myself and then like I kind of elaborate. I think that's going to work a little bit better here. I always like when people talk about themselves, not to have too much text on the slides, just because like it's you and you know your story. So I think that'll be good. And then kind of same thing here, just have a couple bullet points to guide your thoughts so that you don't forget what you want to say. So let me give you an example. Like I might summarize this in there was a time when I was also very confused, right? Something like that. And you can talk about this part about high school. You didn't know how to, make things happen. Once you graduated, you read all the books, you spent hours every day. Like you can really emphasize the fact that you were confused and not have all the text on the slide. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So yeah, have, I would say 3 bullet points at least, 3 to 5 that are it's kind of like you answering their objections, right? So like if it were me, I would say, I was never, my deep desire was never to be a business owner, or, I never had a lot of business skills. And so you're kind of like relating to them in terms of the problem. So I would tighten these 2 slides up a lot and just have them bulleted, and then you can elaborate on those things. Okay. So obviously we'll change this title as well once we figure out. So work on that title based on the feedback from earlier, and send me that for approval. And we'll just kind of go back and forth until it's perfect, because that is obviously going to be the key to getting people to watch your webinar. It's like the first thing they're going to see. Okay, so key number 1, cultivate the right mindset. Yes. So I would just rephrase this a little bit to be like, okay, you need to cultivate the right mindset. You have to have the right mindset for when the going gets tough. And this needs to be, and this will be for all of these slides that are structured this way, it needs to be relative to that first step, right? The key. So I would say something like, you must cultivate the right mindset. And then on this slide, it would say something like this, like the truth is that you will never experience the best version of yourself without cultivating the right mindset. So you're basically backing up that statement, like this key here. So that I think that makes sense. Yeah, I like that. Yep, you're doing a really good job of hitting the pain points of them starting and stopping. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, and even here, it might be interesting just to like talk about like repeating the pattern, over and over again, because they're going to know what that pattern is like of, on the wagon, off the wagon. Let's see. Yep, I think that's good. It's a lot of words, but and you know what? I know I set the slides up like this, but as I'm reading these, I think for you, if you can swap, and this is probably going to be all the way down the presentation, the here's where you'll get stuck with here's how. I think it's actually I was thinking this before. I think it's actually going to flow a little bit better into your success stories, just the way this is laid out. So have it go from negative to positive to success story. Okay. Yep. I like that. Okay, that's all good. This, we would need to get all this text off the slide. I would literally have, if you can use a picture of Joyce, that would be great. If not, let's just have a couple bullet points and I don't know, a picture of a kettlebell or something, or you, and tell her story rather than type her story. Okay. Yep, that's good. Take a full body approach. Yeah, so this is going to be really good, this topic for building that time pain point again. Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. Yep, I like that. Yeah, and again, let's swap those. I just think for your flow, it's going to be a little bit better. Yeah, it's like here you almost want to, in these slides where you're talking about what it's essential to do, like you kind of want to emphasize the fact that you like have to put blinders on to all the noise. So I like that. That's really good. Same thing here. Have a picture of you tell your story with a couple bullet points rather than a paragraph here. Yep, I like that. Yeah, so I would take the question out on this slide. Okay. And I would transition it more from like, you know, you're going through these points about overtraining, you know, because the reality is that most elite athletes in the world don't train 100% of the time. So it doesn't make sense for us to do that. So you just want to kind of, you're using that statement to back up that key. So yeah, just take the question out there. Let's see. Yep, good. Okay. So you painted the picture of them actually being able to enjoy their workout, which is very good. Yep. Because if they're happier doing it, they will stick with it longer. Yep, I like that a lot. As many pictures as you can put in here of your clients, of you training clients, the better for sure. I like it. Tune out the noise. Perfect. That's what I was just saying. Yeah. Again, swap these two and they'll be good. Same thing here. Just tightening that up. Use a picture if you can. Yeah. And Delaine, also, I'm going to, once you clean this up and give me a second draft of this, I'm going to go through even more with a fine tooth comb and take a look at the language. And I may go in and just adjust some of it myself, but it's actually quite good. So there's not going to be a whole lot to change. Yes. Do what works for you. I love that. Okay. Yep. I like that. That's a good analogy. Are you going to use both of these? I would only have one kind of back up your bold statement slide. And I would actually, you could, you don't need this on a slide. Like that's a question that could come up as you're going through the presentation. It's something that doesn't need to be on a slide. You could just verbalize it. This I actually like better for backing up that key there. Mm-hmm. Yep. Again, switch these two. Let's get this out of paragraph form and into a bullet pointed form. And same thing with your success stories. Yep. I like that a lot. That's good. Okay. Let's only have invest in a coach here. So let's get rid of find a training partner because we really want to build. So, and again, making this consistent. in terms of keys, pillars. I don't like component. I don't think it's very strong. But let's get rid of that because this bullet is to position you as the obvious choice for them. Okay. Yep. Same thing. I like that. So yeah, just change all of that to language around a coach. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay. And then what I want you to do is on a slide in here, where you would have a success story, I want you to have a picture of you and your coach, or just of your coach. And I don't care if it's a life coach, a business coach, a strength coach, doesn't matter, because I want you to be able to talk about your experience and why it's so important. So insert a slide there for sure. Okay, so we talked about these pieces here. I would turn the bullets into numbers there as well, just to outline those 5 steps. Mm-hmm. Yep, I like that. Yeah, and so with this slide, as you talk through it, you're really going to paint the picture of, if they keep doing things the same versus if they do something different. Okay, cool. And we can talk about how you plan to deliver this live, but I usually have this link handy also, and I'll put it in the chat box on Zoom, which works really well. When you automate it, it can be a little bit different. Yep, this is perfect. Yeah, you could do a bullet in here that's a little bit stronger in terms of painting the picture for people who have really just struggled with all of those things, with actually getting the result and keeping it for the long term. Like you're kind of saying that in the first 2. But I think that can be stronger. And then this one here, as their best selves, that's a little bit of a weak phrase. So how can we say that better and more powerfully? Like, what do they really desire in terms of how they want to live life? Yep, I like that. Okay. That's okay, a little bit better there. I think it could still be a little bit stronger. Mm-hmm. Yep, all those are good. Yeah, definitely pictures of you on these slides where you're inviting that call. I love it. Good job, lady. All right, so work on those things. Ask me questions if you have them, and then we'll go into draft 2. I would say go ahead and start, like pick a date and time. I think by the end of next week, you could really deliver this, and you can start announcing it and opening up registration. Let me know if you know how to do that on Zoom. So if you have, or what you're planning to use for your webinar platform, if you get the $14.99 a month version of Zoom, it's not the webinar version, it's just the regular version. You can easily run the webinars from that. And you can, like, as you're setting up the meeting, you can require that people pre-register so you see how many people are going to be there. And what I would do is I would send at least 3 emails to your list. I would be talking about it on your social media every single day, driving people to that Zoom link to register. I'm not even talking about building a landing page for the webinar right now. Let's just get people on a live webinar. You'll have a lot of success that way because you have a very engaged audience. And then, so just make sure you check the box that they do need to pre-register, email your list 3 times the link, start posting socially every single day. And this is not going to be a problem for you at all. So just work on the edits. You've got all the framework there. It's really, really good. Work on the edits. We'll make it prettier. We'll add pictures, and you should be able to really deliver this, I would say, like again, toward the end of next week. And think about, do you want to do it on a weeknight or a weekend? So, if you, let's say you open registration on Thursday night, like you're going to do it Thursday at 8 p.m. Or 9 p.m. and people can't make it, you could always do like an encore Saturday morning or something like that. I've had pretty good attendance on Saturday morning webinars, but I'm thinking, it's going to be a little bit experimental. So let's just see what happens. I would say no replay. And the reason is people very rarely watch the replays, and it's going to encourage them to get on live. And you can record it. And if you decide you want to send one out, you can say it was in so much demand, people couldn't make it, you wanted to do a replay, but I don't think that's where you need to start. So hopefully that helps. Let me know what questions you have, and we'll chat soon.